This is Eugene Panrutkovich. I'm the laptop screen doc, and the name of the website is www.screensurgeons.com. Today we have a Lenovo ThinkPad Edge E545 laptop computer with a cracked screen, and I'm going to show you how to replace a cracked screen on the Lenovo ThinkPad Edge E545 laptop computer. Before we do anything with this and most other laptop computers, we need to remove all sources of power, and that means removing the battery. In order to remove the battery from this laptop, we flip it over. There's two levers right above the battery. One is the locking lever. We slide the locking lever outward, and then we slide the left lever outward also and slide the battery out. Once the battery is removed, we can work on this laptop safely. Okay, before we start, I'm going to show you the tools we're going to use for this procedure. We have a PH0 electronics screwdriver. PH stands for Phillips and 0 is the size of the screwdriver. We have a pair of metal tweezers to remove adhesive tape, to manipulate cables, and to remove any screws that may be stuck. And we have a pointed hobby knife or X-Acto knife, and that's to remove the plastic screw covers and to lift up adhesive tape. So the first thing you need to do to get to the screen assembly is to remove the bezel around the screen. That's the plastic frame around the screen. And this bezel is held down by 4 screws. There's 2 at the top and 2 at the bottom, and they're hiding behind the bottom part of the laptop a little bit, but I'll show you. And the screws are hiding behind some rubber screw covers. So the first order of business is to remove the rubber screw covers. We use our X-Acto knife for this. So we lift them up, and then we just put them right beside the screw opening so we don't lose them. There's 1, 2, and there's 2 more at the bottom. They're hidden a little bit, but it's not too hard. So you reach in and remove 1, and then we remove the last one. Once we do that, we take our PH0 screwdriver and remove the 4 screws. There's 2 at the top and 2 at the bottom. So let's do that next. 1, 2. Okay, for the bottom one, we have to reach this screw at an angle. We have to engage the screw at an angle. And in order not to strip the screw, we need to apply a little bit more pressure than usual to engage it. Once you engage it, it's okay. So we slowly remove it. Almost there, and then we pull it out. If you can't pull it out with the screwdriver, if the screwdriver is not magnetized, you use the tweezers to pull it out. Okay, same procedure on the other one. So use more force at first to engage it, and then keep turning it until it comes out, like so. For each step, for each set of screws, we keep the screws in their own pile in order to keep track of which screws go where once we put the laptop back together. The next step is to remove the screen bezel, to snap it off. In order to do that, we put our fingertips or fingernails on the screen side of the screen bezel and gently lift up the bezel and pull outward and up and listen for snapping sounds. That's the bezel snapping off. Using this procedure, we work our way around the screen, like so. If he gets stuck at a point, keep going past that point and come back to it when it's easier to disengage. Okay, same process on the bottom, like so. And the bezel is out. So once the bezel is out, when you're putting the bezel back in, since it goes behind the screen assembly, or behind the bottom assembly. You put it back in and then snap it back on. And on the bottom you have to snap it on like so. And also, if it still doesn't engage with the battery out, you can snap it on over here like so when you putting it back on. Okay, so we take the bezel out again, and let's take a look at the screen assembly. The next step is to remove the screen from the screen assembly, and it's mounted on the screen assembly by screws that go into the side of the screen. In order to reach the screws on the side of the screen, you have to pull the screen forward from the screen assembly, and you see it's mounted on metal mounting brackets. And if we take a look at the side, this way we can reach the top two screws, but there's one at the bottom we can't reach. In order to reach the ones at the bottom, what we have to do is loosen up two screws at the bottom. We don't want to totally remove them, we just want to loosen up one or two turns just so we can tilt the screen forward from the screen assembly. And once again, use the same procedure. Use a little bit more force to engage since we are at an angle. 1 and 2. Maybe 1.5 turns for each one. 1 and 2. And once we do that, we see we can tilt the screen forward more from the screen assembly, and that's just enough to reach the bottom screw. So starting from the bottom, we start removing the screws. So engage the screws and one by one remove them. If the screw is trapped in there, use the metal tweezers to remove the screw. So 2, and what we're going to do is we're going to wait to remove the top screw until we remove the bottom screws on the other side. So there's 1. And if you have trouble reaching this screw down here, loosen these two screws so you can tilt the screen forward from the screen assembly a little bit more. So 2, and now we can remove the top screw on both sides. When doing this, be very careful because the screen will be loose. You don't want it to fall forward on you. So make sure that the screen assembly is tilted back. And see, once you remove the screw, the screen falls back from the brackets. And same procedure on the other side. Remove the screw while holding the bracket and the screen falls back. Once we do that, we can tilt the screen forward from the screen assembly and lay it down. For this type of screen, there's only one connector at the bottom, and it's behind adhesive tape with a barcode. So we use either our fingertips or the X-Acto knife to gently lift up the adhesive tape, and being careful not to damage the connector, and we expose the connector. Also, the back of the video cable, the back of the connector, is also attached with adhesive tape. So we gently lift that up, and folding the adhesive tape backward and holding the back of the video connector, we gently pull the connector out. So let's try again. We gently pull the connector out. So before I go any further, I'm going to show you how to re-engage this connector, how to reconnect it when you have the new screen, because I see people having trouble with that. So what you do is push the connector back in. You'll feel but not hear 2 clicks. That means the connector is properly engaged. Let's get a close-up. Now pause the video right here. The 2 sides of the connection should be flush with each other. There should not be a gap between the 2 sides of the connection. This is a properly connected connector. Okay, let's pull the connector out again, and now we can remove the screen. Let's take a look at this screen. This is a standard 15.6 inch LED screen with a 40-pin connector. As of mid-2014, this is the most common screen in laptops, so there should not be any trouble finding it. The only peculiarity about this screen is it has a matte finish. The screens in laptops either come in matte or glossy finish, and for this size screen about 95% of them have the glossy finish and only a few have the matte finish. It should not affect the performance of the laptop or the screen. It's just a personal preference. For your information, we only stock glossy screens, and unless you specifically ask for a matte screen from other vendors, you'll get a glossy screen. Okay, let's take a look at the part number that we need to find this screen. The part number is B156XTN02.1. B156XTN02.1. That's the part number that you look up. Most likely when you receive this screen, the part number will be different, but the screens will be compatible. Okay, now you can also order this screen from us from Screen Surgeons, and what you get with us is this exact same toolkit that I used in the video. It comes for free with the screen. We have a 2-year warranty on our screens and free email technical support. So if you have any problems during the installation, send us email and we'll help you through it. Also, we have free shipping, free priority mail shipping with our screens in the continental United States. And our screens ship from Louisville, Kentucky, so most likely you'll get your screen in 2 to 3 days after ordering it. Also, if you live outside the United States, we ship to most countries around the world, so just follow the normal checkout procedure, and most likely we can ship to your country. To order this screen from us, from Screen Surgeons, go to www.screensurgeons.com. There will be a short form for you to fill out. That'll guide you to the right screen to purchase online, and then you just buy the screen online from us. Okay, once you do get your new screen in, reconnect the connector as I showed you. Mount the screen in the metal mounting brackets. Put the screws back in, 3 on each side. If you have trouble with the bottom screw, the best step is not to put the bottom screw in, just put the 2 top screws on each side, and that should be enough to hold the screen in place securely. Once you do that, tighten the 2 screws on each side on the bottom, and make sure you don't miss this step, because otherwise your hinges and your back of the screen assembly will be damaged. Snap the screen bezel back on. Go around with your fingers and snap it back on. Put the 2 screws in at the top, the 2 screws in at the bottom, the rubber covers, and you should be done. Okay, that's it. Once again, my name is Eugene Panrutkovich. I'm the laptop screen doc, and the name of the website is www.screensurgeons.com. Thank you very much, and good luck.